Over the last few months, it has been kind of a given in the political conversations that are prevalent that Democrats are going to get smushed in the midterms and Republicans are going to obliterate them, take the House, maybe take the Senate, one or the other or both. And that was kind of what everyone assumed. Many reasons for that. Biden's unpopularity, the economic conditions that are very much contributing to that, the natural swing that tends to happen when a president wins, then the House and Senate usually shift the other direction. But it looks like due to all of the things that are going against the Republicans right now, Democrats might have a fighting chance in, if not having a massive win midterm, obviously that's not going to happen, but maybe just holding in there and not losing both chambers, maybe not losing either. That's the hope, and at least we're headed in that direction. Polling wise, I still put it at way better odds that Republicans do win a lot during the midterms, but it's good political tides shifting in the direction that we want them to. And a lot of that is due to the overturning of Roe v. Wade. We saw a shift in the polls. All of these mass shootings where Republicans are not willing to act, and the January 6th hearings showing that the leader of the Republican Party, if not currently in power, definitely still in influence and rhetorical authority, Donald Trump, attempted to overturn the election results in 2020. And so those things combined are causing a situation where Democrats are somehow rising in the polls, even though all of the underlying variables that usually play into a midterm are not going in their favor. So here is a breakdown of multiple different pollsters. You can see that they mark after the Dobbs decision. So after Roe v. Wade was overturned, you saw in every one of these polling companies, except for one of them, Democrats increased their polling after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. They improved and got better chances of winning in these generic 2022 breakdowns. The article that laid out this poll reads, quote, notably, of the 8 polls taken since the Dobbs opinion was released, that's the overturning of Roe v. Wade, 7 found that Democratic support increased over the prior poll. 7 out of the 8 showed that Democratic support increased over the prior poll. 5 found the highest level of Democratic support since the start of 2022. On average, Democratic support was 1.6% higher than was found in the previous poll, and Democrats increased their margin in these polls by 2.3% and actually lead by 0.6%. So depending on the poll now, in some of them in a generic 2022 ballot, which just means you take generally across the country, are you going to vote for the Democratic Party or are you going to vote for the Republican Party when you go and vote in the midterms? Now, depending on the poll you look at, Democrats are winning some of them in those national generic polls, and then Republicans are still winning in some of them as well. So again, that doesn't break down necessarily to all these different races that we're watching, because that's a generic national 2022 poll based on either party, not necessarily every single candidate that we're looking at. That would be a whole long video we would need to do looking at all of the swing districts that are in play here. But comparing it to what we've seen over the past few months, this is really good momentum in the Democratic Party's direction. And of course, we do hope that the American electorate, even though, yes, there's economic conditions that are so upsetting right now, and even though the Democratic Party has not followed through on many of the promises that they made, you would hope they would see the Republican Party appointed justices repealing people's rights, the mass shootings with no action from the Republican Party, and the anti-democratic actions of Trump and many Republicans, as well as many supporters of Donald Trump. You hope that the broader general electorate would be motivated by those factors that we're all aware of now, hopefully, and vote against the Republican Party, if nothing else. Vote for the Democratic Party just to prevent that dangerous party from getting in power. Now, it does come down a lot to the individual races that these individuals are running. What do I mean by that? If it was Republicans crushing us nationwide, then too bad, so sad. But because it looks like there's a lot of ties in polling of these national generic 2022 ballots, and also there is Democrats winning some, Republicans winning some, that means that either party could make a big impact in the little adjustments they make in any given race, right? Because just based on the polling, which isn't always perfect, it could go either way right now. So that means the individual candidates have to do a really good job on the Democratic side of making it clear why they're the better candidate, making it clear why it's so important that people go out to vote. So this isn't me saying, yay, the 2022 midterms are going to go well. This isn't me saying that the Republican Party isn't still likely to gain a lot, unfortunately, but it is saying we're headed in the right direction. And at least this is a little nugget of positive news that shows maybe Americans are paying attention a little bit to all the damage that the Republican Party is doing lately. And that gives me some level of hope in a pretty tough political climate.